Hey guys, how's it going? This is Waj from the MW Technology channel on YouTube, and in this video we're doing a full review of the Razer Edge. This is the Pro version of the Razer Edge, and we're going to be looking at it from a gaming angle. We're going to be specifically talking about how this thing is in terms of gaming, playing different games on it, and of course using it for different purposes. This is a full computer, make no doubt about it, so we're going to take a look at the ins and outs of it, see how it does in playing different games, and see if this thing's right for you. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the overall design and physical layout of the Razer Edge. In terms of design itself, it looks very similar to other Windows 8 tablets that are out in the market right now, with the exception it is definitely a lot thicker and heavier than most of those competitors. The Edge itself is about 2.1 pounds, and if you add the gaming pad, it goes to a whopping 4 pounds, so it definitely gets pretty heavy. However, the Razer Edge does feel really comfortable by your lap, so if you're going to be using it in this position, it's definitely possible to play games for an extended period of time. Now, in terms of thickness, this tablet is about 0.75 inches, which is definitely pretty thick when we start comparing it to other modern day tablets. And just by noticing the massive heat vents at the back of the tablet, you get the idea that this thing is packing a lot of power underneath with some pretty high performance computer hardware inside. I do have to admit though that Razer did a great job in designing this heat exhaust system, because even after several hours of usage, you never feel that you're getting bombarded by all this hot air onto you. It's really a comfortable experience that not only keeps the hardware inside cool, but keeps you at a constant temperature as well. Now, in terms of some of the external ports and buttons the Razer has, we'll start from the very top of the device. And as you can see over here, we have a full USB 3.0 port, followed by a 3.5mm headphone jack, up-down volume button right over here. On the other side, still on the top, we have an orientation lock button, followed by a keyboard button, which is definitely helpful, and a standby power switch. Some of the things that are missing from the Razer Edge that I would like to see, especially governing its price point, is an SD card slot and an Ethernet port, and that would be pretty handy if you're going to use this as a laptop or desktop replacement PC. Now, the overall build quality of the Razer Edge I think is quite exceptional. It's made of really high quality metals and plastics, and overall the tablet itself feels really solid and really a premium product, which it should be considering its pretty epic price tag. Now, technically there are two models available for the Razer Edge right now. There's the normal Razer Edge, which goes for about $999. It comes with an i5 processor, 4 gigs of RAM, a 64 gig SSD drive, and an NVIDIA GT 640 MLE with 1 gig of DDR3. Now, for another $300, you can get the Razer Edge Pro, which upgrades you to an i7 processor with 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gig SSD drive, or a 256, depending on if you want to pay a little bit extra. And generally the same graphics card, but you get another gig of RAM, which will give you better performance at higher screen resolutions, which is definitely useful if you're going to plan on connecting this to your TV or monitor. Now, one big disadvantage of the Razer Edge in both versions is the screen itself, which is 1366 by 768, which would have been a fine resolution maybe 2 to 3 years ago, but now with products such as the iPad 4 and the Nexus 10, where the screen resolution in pixels per square inch is just almost twice of what the Razer Edge offers, makes justifying the purchase of this high-end product even more difficult. Now, one of the things that you need to know is that the Razer Edge requires accessories. If you're going to buy this product, you definitely want the gaming pad and the dock. Now, the problem with that is, of course, it doesn't come with the actual Razer Edge tablet itself. It is a separate purchase, but each of those products are really, really highly priced. In other words, they're pretty darn expensive. The actual pad itself costs $249, and the dock costs another $100. So you're another $350 in, and that's not even including the tablet. And if you decide to get the Pro version of the Razer Edge, which starts at $1299, and you start adding everything up, you're looking at about $1649, not including taxes or shipping. So boy oh boy, this is definitely not for everyone, and it is a very hard purchase to make. But let's see if that purchase is worth it in terms of gaming performance and experience. So I just want to do some benchmarking and kind of show you guys what kind of frames per second I was getting on all these different games. So starting with one of my favorite games out right now, BioShock Infinite, you're getting about 41 frames per second on the 1366 by 768, which is the native resolution of the screen. And if you put that onto a 1080 display, you're getting about 24 frames per second. Other games such as Diablo 3 are getting about 65 frames per second on the Razer Edge, and on a big screen TV you're getting about 57. On Battlefield 3 I got about 44 frames per second on the Edge and about 24 frames per second on a big 1080p display. Skyrim is getting about 48 frames per second on the Edge and about 24 on the bigger screen. And racing games generally do a lot better. I got about 150 frames per second on the Razer Edge, which is just crystal smooth, and about 77 frames on a larger 1080p screen. And generally when you play most of these games, you can bump down the quality to low or even lower. Right now I'm benching all these at about medium quality, so your frames per seconds will definitely be a lot lower on medium settings, especially if you're viewing it on a big 1920 by 1080 screen. So I would advise, if you're going to play larger games on your TV or on your higher resolution laptop, probably set it down to lower quality settings so you can get more fluid gameplay at higher frames per second. Now, one big gripe I have about the gamepad itself is that on the right analog thumbstick, if you go up, it sticks. I don't know why it does this. It could be just my version of this gamepad. I probably have to exchange it, but it's, for some reason, it just sticks. And the other thing too is the trigger buttons are quite sensitive. When playing BioShock Infinite, I had a lot of times where it was firing even if I just slightly touched the trigger itself. So it's very sensitive, and considering it's $250 for this gamepad is pretty darn excessive and really hard to justify, especially given some of these technical inconsistencies and concerns, and the fact that a $40 Xbox controller is about twice as better instrument to use when playing different games and a lot more precise. And if you're going to make this gamepad the big selling feature of the Razer Edge, you have to make sure that that thing is built like a rock and it's an exceptional instrument for playing any game. Now, another downside to the Edge is the fact that you can't output an external display just using the tablet itself. You need to get the $99 docking station. Now, if you do get the docking station, one of the nice things is you do have an extra 3 USB 2.0 ports, a full-size HDMI port, headphone and microphone jack, as well as the power. So by getting the dock, you do add quite a bit of functionality to the tablet, but it sucks that you do have to pay extra for it. Now, in terms of battery life, the Razer Edge gets about 4 hours on normal usage. If you're playing any games, expect to see something around 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how intensive the game is. Now, you can purchase a $69 extended battery that fits inside the gamepad itself right over here, and that should add another hour or so to your gaming session. Now, just before we sum up some of the pros and cons of this device, I do have to mention that it is a pretty unique experience to game with this thing. When having it on your lap and playing all these AAA title games such as BioShock Infinite, it is a pretty amazing experience. You could be on your bed and play this huge game with your headphones, and it's a really intimate experience. It is quite exceptional in terms of giving you this really unique perspective that in gaming that is not available right now, especially in the high-end market. And make no mistake about it, this is a full computer. You can use this for word processing, hook up a keyboard and mouse to it. If you get that dock, you can hook it up to a large 1080p monitor or TV, anything you want. You could use this on a day-to-day basis since it has a Core i7, 8 gigs of RAM, a pretty decent hard drive. You can also expand that memory, of course. It is a full-on computer, but if you're in the market for a full-on computer, again, for about $1,000, almost 3/4 of what this thing costs, you can get a very high-end gaming laptop that offers all the features in terms of gaming, but with the added performance and functionality in terms of being a laptop with a real physical keyboard. And not to mention, for about $1,000, you can create a monster of a desktop PC these days, building your own computer. So always keep that in mind. Now, just to finalize all my thoughts, I just want to chart up some of the pros and cons of the Razer Edge. We'll start with the pros. Basically, it is a full-on computer that we talked about with full-on PC functionality. You can play any games. We already talked about this. Next, it's a really great gaming platform. You can play pretty much all the games at relatively high quality at pretty decent frame rates, especially if you get the Pro version. Another thing, it has great expandability options. You can get a keyboard with it, you can get the gaming pad, the dock, hook it up to anything, any monitor, any TV, any keyboard and mouse, universally accepted. And it's better graphics than you would find on a console such as a PS3 or Xbox. Now, some of my cons are definitely regarding its screen, which is only 1366 by 768, and in terms of having a tablet for this much in 2013 at this low resolution is pretty darn unacceptable. The other thing too is a lot thicker and heavier than most of its competitors that are out there right now. It also lacks Ethernet and SD card slot, which is definitely a con if you're going to be using this as a full-on computer. Not to mention that the gamepad, triggers, and thumbsticks, as we mentioned, are not top-notch quality. And regarding some of those accessories, one of the other big downsides is that the dock and the gamepad does not come with the Razer Edge tablet, so you have to buy those separately. And again, another con is the fact that the gamepad and the dock will set you back another $350. And of course, the final con will be regarding its overall price tag. Once you have the accessories and the Pro version of the Razer Edge, you're going to be set back $1,649, not including the taxes or shipping. And that's going to be a pretty huge blow, especially if you're not a wealthy person. If you're an average person, that's an incredibly luxurious price, and definitely hard to justify, especially when we start comparing it to other gaming solutions that are out there right now. But other than that, guys, if you guys have any questions regarding the Razer Edge, I know we went through a lot of different aspects of this product, please leave a comment down below or message us on YouTube. As well, if you like the video and like the review, make sure to give us a thumbs up and visit the instafuse.com article on this product. So we'll have that in a link down below. But other than that, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you later. Take care.
Hi guys, my name is Majid, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a tablet from Razer. This is the first tablet from them in the market, and it's aimed for the gaming market, being a gaming tablet. This is a full-fledged Windows 8 tablet running an i7 processor with 128GB solid-state